When Brett Joseph walks into a woman's life, he promises her the world. Problem is, he doesn't use his real name and everything he says is a lie. He pretends to be a charming, rich Romeo and he targets wealthy country girls. Tonight, Brady Halls exposes him.
Can you talk? Lola, can you talk?
No, the dog can't, Brett, but you sure can.
He's the perfect boyfriend, except for the lies.
He says, I've got all this money.
He comes across as charming, as believable.
He looks so, well, unassuming, but...
This guy knows exactly what he's doing. Very calculating.
My name is Frank.
You know that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can? Well, here at A Current Affair, we meet plenty of fraudsters, but this guy makes Leo's character look like an amateur. Brett Joseph doesn't pretend to be an airline pilot. No, he's a renowned rich Romeo.
I think that's the biggest thing, is it's believable.
I'm about going to look for a job.
And just like the guy in that movie, in real life, Brett is unemployed and lives with mum and dad.
You've got no idea how much embarrassment it's brought onto us. And we're still paying for it. We've had phone calls, people ring up.
Joseph is such a nothing name to Brett. He prefers to say he's a wealthy Maya, yeah, the store people, or from the famous Chook and Racing dynasty.
I see you as the future Mrs. Ingham.
He likes farmers, people whose family own property, or horses, or any livestock, and he pretends he's very rich.
He targets girls from semi-wealthy families and tells them he's even wealthier, promising to marry them and give them a privileged lifestyle. So far, he's duped nearly 24 girls around the country.
Every day there's more coming forward, and he's been around most states in Australia. I could see it hitting 100 quite easily.
He boasts private jets, waterfront homes, named himself as an actor on hit shows and movies, even bragged to be one of the country's biggest charity donors, promising $12 million to this hospital.
He expressed an interest in helping to support quite a few hospital, clinical and research endeavours.
I met Brett Joseph on Tinder.
Initially, Brett had no interest in Daisy, until...
I posted a couple of pictures on my Instagram of I was out at my parents' farm helping do some sheep work. I received a message that afternoon. Is that your farm in the pictures? Yes, I said it is.
Oh, he worked quick.
And he said, I'm coming to see you tomorrow. He was here within 24 hours.
Once in the door, it didn't take long for the fraudster to begin work.
Pretty much within half an hour of him arriving, the horse Winx was racing on the TV.
And the Winx is starting to edge away.
It came out that he owned, these horses, including Winx.
She breaks all the records today. She's a champion, Winx.
Brett said he was part of the syndicate of the best racehorse going around at the moment.
He's telling me, I've won, I've got $6 million in prize money to spend, and, from these horses, I'm so lucky.
A photo of him holding a Cox plate made her think he was in the racing game. Anyway, soon he was on the family farm with his new girlfriend. Carinia, a huge sheep and cotton station, and the megapixels were working overtime on the assets that weren't his.
All the time he would take pictures. He'd say, take a picture of me with this, take a picture with me with that.
The shutter may have been opening non-stop, but Brett's wallet sure didn't.
I was the one who paid for everything.
Every day out, Daisy paid. Every day in, Daisy paid.
Essentially, I was supporting 2 people for 6 months. He'd go to the supermarket and chuck 3 packets of razor blades in the trolley. It was $60 worth of razor blades.
He loved buying stuff at country auctions, but after she spent about 20 grand on him, she questioned him.
He says, I've got all this money and I intend on spending it on both of us, for our lives together.
Well, not quite. You see, behind her back, Brett was using those pictures for his next victim.
Now it's come to light that he's actually been sending those pictures, including pictures in my parents' house, to other girls and claiming that that's actually his property.
The Armstrong family assets were Brett's. The farm, the livestock, the plane, everything. Well, That's what other girls were led to believe.
It made me feel really angry because my family have worked so hard and gone without so much to make our property what it is today. My grandparents, my parents, my siblings, everyone has worked so hard, and for somebody to then come in and say, that's mine, when they've done absolutely nothing for it, it makes me so angry. I'll make cups of tea.
Now, while she was still in love and not aware of the true man Brett Joseph was, Daisy's mum Julie, dad Bruce and brother Hamish smelt a rat.
And he told me how much money he had, and he was worth millions of dollars, and he had all these race horses and everything, so yeah, it just didn't sit well with me.
They hadn't seen that story of ours from 4 years ago.
He is certainly not who he claims to be.
When we reported his promised and despicable fake donation to St Vincent's Hospital, who wined and dined Joseph at functions where he met Delta Goodrem and then PM Julia Gillard. Eventually, the con artist, who this time called himself Hunter Baillieu, was uncovered.
Through the hospital's process of due diligence, we discovered that he wasn't the man that he purported to be, and we immediately reported the matter to police.
Years on, Brett Joseph is up to his old tricks again.
I think it's time for the authorities to do something about it.
I managed to find enough to start following the leads, and then just kept following it, and it turned out very ugly.
So the family engaged former fraud squad inspector Mike Gerondis, who put his skills to work. And first up, he unearthed our story.
Oh, when I found the current affair story where he was Hunter Baillieu, and we got that, and I got some other information.
Including a newspaper article where Joseph called himself Brett Ingham at a country race meeting. The former cop knew what had to be done next.
And so I told Bruce to freeze all his bank accounts immediately, and they froze Daisy's accounts as well. Everything was frozen, and then I told him that Brett would get upset about that, and he did.
And then D-Day arrived.
Mike walked in, he pointed at Brett and he said, "You know why I'm here." And he put his computer down and he put down some pieces of paper and he said, "This man is not the man that you think he is." He said, "This man is a con man and he's been sucking you dry for the last 6 months, hasn't he? Like he's done so many other girls."
It was the social climate.
He played Daisy, our story.
There are just way too many lies here. This can't go forward.
What was he doing all this time?
He was sitting on the couch as white as a ghost. "I'm sorry, I made a mistake."
Within 20 minutes, the one-time copper ran the rural Romeo out of town.
Daisy, do you feel used?
He played on the thing that I've been looking for from a long time, which is somebody to love and somebody to share my life with. And he took advantage of me based on that vulnerability that he picked out so early on.
And it just really hurts.
But revenge has a name: social media. And Daisy let the world know all about Brett Joseph. It turned out to be a Pandora's box.
With the cotton from home.
Because she wasn't alone, even when she was with him.
He drove from here to her hometown, had sex with her, and then drove home and acted like nothing had happened.
He was allegedly telling girls he was a doctor or a member of the wealthy Waterhouse family.
I think he did target me, yeah.
There was Alana,
He's charming. He's really, really good at being charming.
who was bled dry financially and emotionally.
He's a really horrible, nasty, nasty man.
I see you as a future Mrs. Ingham.
But what happened to Amelia was a real shocker. As soon as he was thrown out of Daisy's house and town, he had his eye on this young landowner. Well, he was looking for a place to stay.
Like finding out what my parents did for a living, what I did for a living, where I was from, the sort of property that we have here, all that sort of stuff.
Mr. Ingham was coming to town, and Amelia was in his sights, telling her,
We give a lot of money away to many different charities. My grandpa set up the Ingham Institute.
but Amelia saw Daisy's Facebook page before his car pulled up in the drive.
There's every chance that he'd be in my house right now. So she really helped me dodge a bullet there.
No, Brett Joseph isn't an Ingham. He isn't a Meyer nor a Waterhouse. He's just a very naughty person who lives at home with mum and dad. And as our exclusive footage shows, enjoys the odd trip away with them and a Chinese meal.
He doesn't have a job, hasn't had a job for years, has no form of income, has lots of things. Never seen a fellow with so many shirts. I think he had 60 or 70 shirts.
Time for a visit.
He's up to his old tricks again.
I know that.
Dad Wayne invites us in, while Brett stays in the bedroom and Dad faces the music.
Very distressing. Very, very distressing. And, like I said, we don't condone one bit what he's done. And I feel sorry for the girls that it does. But he has a problem.
Wayne says his son is bipolar, and despite family attempts, no organisation is willing to commit Brett.
We've tried Lifeline, Beyond Blue.
Much of the family has disowned them.
I've had family members turn on me all over this.
We did this story last in 2012.
Yeah, I
Here
know.
we are 4.5 years later.
Yeah, and he still hasn't got help because of the program.
So
what do you want him to do? Do you want him to get put in jail? Do you want him to what?
But can you see the
No,
trail
but
of
you
devastation?
answer my question.
Well, I'm not. I'm not the
What
one.
would you-
I'm not the one being accused of anything.
I
I've got
know
no.
that.
I don't have to
But
answer
how do
anything
you
here.
how do you feel
But-
about it?
Well, I can't. I can see that this is never ending.
So do you reckon jail's the place?
Well, that would stop him, would it not?
Would it not? How would that rehabilitate him?
Because he's not out there.
Brett's victims won't have a bar of his excuses.
The mental illness excuse comes out when he needs it to come out, which is usually when he's trying to get himself out of a mess. It's offensive to people that actually do suffer from mental illness.
And we spent a lot of time with him. We never saw any sign of any bipolar or anything like that.
It's a cop-out, and it's a convenient excuse and a convenient way to sweep the real issues under the carpet, which is what his parents have done for a great number of years now.
He's all I've got. He's my only child. So, you know, what do? I just got to stand by him.
Aside from the girls, there is a burly cattle farmer who's been done over as well. He lives in the same town as Joseph. Meet the real Hunter Baillieu White, a man a little tired of constantly getting calls from dupe people.
By the time people ring me, they're usually extremely concerned.
Oh yes, I'm the great pretender.
After 10 years of conning people, the great pretender doesn't look like retiring anytime soon.
He told me that he's not on Tinder anymore. He's told me he's shut his Facebook down and he's not on Tinder anymore.
Do you believe that?
Well, I don't know what to believe now, I tell you.
I found his Twitter account yesterday where he called himself Hunter Baillieu Joseph.
His preferred website is Tinder, but he uses others as well. And we found another one, a gay dating website, and his profile to meet people was anyone between 18 and 65. So he's indiscriminate. I think he enjoys the thrill. I think he enjoys making people feel for him, love him. He enjoys that, and then he enjoys all the spoils, all the money, the attention. He loves that.
He's despicable. He's a scumbag.
There is no one who is safe. No sex, no age, no one is off limits to him, so as long as they've got money.
For goodness sake, remember his face because his name will change. Police are currently investigating a number of complaints made to them by young women about Brett Joseph.